In part 3 of the 2020 Canes opponent preview series, we're going to preview the FSU Seminoles, our opponent, on September 26th at Hard Rock Stadium. Well, a new era begins in Tallahassee. Out is Willie Taggart, in is Mike Norvell. Now, last year, they finished 6-7. Taggart being gone after losing badly to the Canes up at Doak Campbell Stadium was 4-5. Now, this year is a different story. Mike Norvell, who comes from Memphis at 38, only 4 years of head coaching experience, but he turned Memphis into a power offensively, going 38-15, including 12-1 last year. I got to tell you, when you talk about FSU, there's a new offensive coordinator, Kenny Dillingham. He's their fourth offensive coordinator in a couple of years. And he's wanting to marry a pro-style offense with up-tempo concepts. Now, Dillingham worked under Norvell in Memphis before going to Auburn last for the 19 season. Now he's rejoined him in Tallahassee. We know his starting quarterback is going to be James Blackman. He's thrown 36 touchdowns in his career, thrown for 4,602 yards, but he's also had 19 interceptions. And he had a bad Sun Bowl against Hermet, which is an Arizona State team, throwing 4 picks in the 2014 loss. But Chubba Purdy and Jordan Travis could give Blackman some fits in fall camp. But the major issue was keeping Blackman healthy. That Knoll offensive line was terrible. 48 sacks, and they're hoping to get a transfer from FIU named Devontae Love Taylor, who can help out immediately for them. Now, the good news for the defense, they lose one starter from last year's team on defense. The bad news is that defense was just god-awful. Try these numbers for size. 90th in total defense and 119th in passing defense. While Taggart was there, they ran a 4-3, but he went to 3-4 last year. The new defensive coordinator, Adam Fuller, will go back to the 4-3, and he's got some good pieces in that defense to work with. And it starts with ACC cornerback, all-ACC player, I should say, Asante Samuel, who's off a season where he led the conference in pass breakups and 8th in the country with 14. They get Wilson back, who's a Beckneric semifinalist after having 5 sacks and 44 tackles last year. Now, he's a first-round NFL prospect for sure, and he's coming up with first-team All-ACC season. It's also worth mentioning, and I don't know if Wilson has backed out, by the way, as opted. I don't know that yet. I'll have to find out. But anyway, we go over to second-team All-ACC safety, Hamza Nasir-Ladin, 101 tackles. He was the first Seminole since 14 to top 100 tackles in the season. But let's make no mistake, while Norvell was one of the most highly sought-after coaches this last offseason, Florida State's going in the right direction, but it's going to take a while to get FSU back to where they usually are. Now, yes, FSU needs to change after Jimbo bolted for College Station, but it'll be a few years before FSU can be back as the team that many feared in the early 2010s under Jimbo. But they'll have to build back that talent again and get back to a lower-tier bowl game as it eventually tries to get to Clemson's level, which is going to be a tall task. When you look at FSU's schedule as of now, depending on what happens, when you look at that schedule, that FSU schedule looks pretty daunting when you take a look at it. Let's take a look at that schedule. We know they come to Hard Rock on the 26th. But before that, when you look at that schedule, believe me, with Clemson on there, it is brutal. It is brutal. They start with Georgia Tech at home. They get Sanford before they come to Hard Rock on the 26th. Then they get a bye week, then go up to South Bend to take on Notre Dame. And that's going to tell a lot about where FSU is. Then they got Carolina at home, Louisville on the road, Pittsburgh off after another bye week, North Carolina State and Raleigh on the 14th. The 21st, Clemson comes to town. Then they get Virginia in their home finale, and then they close the regular season at Duke December 5th. Assuming they play and looking at that schedule, in Norvell's first year, it's possible you could see maybe 6 to 7 wins here. 8 if things go right. But I'm going to say for FSU in 2020, assuming they play, I'm going to go 8 and 3, 7 and 4 for FSU in 2020. Part 4 of the series, we will preview the Clemson Tigers.